Hey Kendra, this is Greg Green, and I'm with Clintondale High School. And listen, it's very nice to meet you. It's a very exciting time. I haven't spoken to anybody in Istanbul yet, and so it's my first experience, and I'm very excited to meet you and to help you through this foot model that we've been doing for the last 4 years. We've had numerous people visit us at our school, and so it's a model that um, everybody's pretty excited about. It's a model that has given us better results over time, and I think that you'll have better results for your students over time as well, and really meet their needs. You're the one of the most important people in the room, and we need to make sure that you spend as much time helping your students as much as we help ours. And that's really the magic of the model, is that students need to be active in their learning. They need to be active within the lesson in order to make that connection, in order to own it. And so we can't control, some of that if they do their work outside the classroom, because we're not there to help them, or they don't have the resources, or they don't have things at their disposal. And so one of the things that we really want to have a better idea of, or better thing is control. I think that one of the things that we struggle with when we send traditional homework home is we lose control of it. It comes back, it's incomplete, or it wasn't done right, or students had questions that they couldn't get answered. And so just by reversing your instructional routines, to just tweak them a little bit, allows you to have better control and allows the students to have better support. And so there's a couple things that really are great pieces about the flipped classroom. It's just simply reversing your instructional routines that you already do, so that you have more time for your students, right? The other thing is this, is that a lot of people get caught up in the technology end of it, and they focus on the technology, but they don't focus on really why you're using the technology. So you want to make sure you have a learning objective. So if your students are using a piece of technology, you know why they're using them, where it gets them further in the learning spectrum. Does it allow them to take better ownership? Does it allow them to collaborate? Does it allow them to maybe apply something a little bit more, or to analyze something a little bit better, to know themselves as learners? And so it's really, really vital that when you adopt technology and have them use it, that you establish a learning objective, with all your technologies. The other thing is this, is that you want to use the technologies for work objectives. How do you become more efficient in the classroom so that you can help your students more? And it's really allowing you to expedite your processes so that you're there for your students, so you can have conversation with your students, so you can address your students' needs more appropriately. And there's all kinds of pieces of technology that you'll incorporate so that you're able to do that. Um, the last thing is, you want to look at your spaces, and your spaces in your classroom are they designed to encourage collaboration, encourage analysis and evaluation of work, and so forth. If they're in straight rows like we traditionally do in education, it's a little tougher to do that. And so you want to make sure that your activities are aligned with your space design, so that your classroom complements your activities, and rather than discourages some of the movement things that you might want to do in a flipped classroom. The other thing is that when you're designing a lesson for a flipped classroom, really think about 80-20 as a general rule that we use with our teachers. And 80% of the time you want students working, and then 20% of the time you want to probably take control of your classroom, because you're giving them guidance, or you're showing them example on the board, or you're working back and forth. And that 80-20 doesn't always have to be teacher at the beginning, students didn't work for 80% of the time in class. That's not the case. What you do is you design your lessons to make sure that you give ownership back to your students, so that they're actually doing the work, whether it's procedures in class, or group activities, or independent activities, or just a direct instruction where you share roles. It's really it's really helpful that when we use that 80-20 framework, people really understand that, and they do a good job. Also, you can use 80/20 for an entire week. So if you wanted to do something where you lectured all one day and then you had the students work the rest of the week, and an end project, that's 80/20 as well. So that's one day of lecture, 4 days of activity, that's 80/20 as well. So it can look different depending on your circumstance. But those are general frameworks that really are helpful for us when we start thinking about and evolving into the flipped school. The other thing is this: is that what I want you to do is I want you also to think about keeping the technology simple. The reason I love Ridvan's platform, EDU on Go, is because it's simple, it's easy. There's not a lot of upside training to it. You know, so what happens is, sometimes teachers use the most complicated and the in technology, as we say, and sometimes that technology is rather complicated. So what we're looking to do is we're looking to adopt technologies that are rather simple, easy to use, and straightforward. The accountability issue always comes up. How do you keep students accountable in the classroom, when watching videos outside? Well, ultimately, you want to speak to them in their voice and at their level. Oftentimes, when you look at people who are experts online and so forth, that's one of the things that's, a common theme when they talk about how are they so successful, is that they become a contributor to their voice. You're not an authority figure talking down to them. They're actually someone who, has a conversation with them instead of at them. And I think that that's really important when you're doing videos. The other thing is that you can incorporate, students in with you doing videos, because oftentimes they like to see their classmates. The next thing is that you might even have students do the videos, so that they want to look at their classmates and think it's kind of funny. But what happens is you want to make sure that the video is a little bit personal and not so just talking at them, like this conversation, I hope you feel, is a little more personal for you, rather than me talking about the flipped classroom and actually directing this video to you. The last thing is that there's really no control once you once you send the video home. It really, unless you have almost accountability measures where you're quizzing students every day, or you're holding them accountable and they're motivated by that accountability, that's a great model to use. However, sometimes you just can't get students to watch videos because you lose control of it. So what you do is you make the videos shorter and you show them right in class, and you stick it right into the 20% that you would actually, of the class time that you're responsible for, or that you're providing the direct instruction. The videos and the other things are just a simple support resource. It's an introduction. You're preloading your students. So if you can preload your students, let's say in an hour session, you have a 5-minute video, you still have 55 minutes to work, and it works well. And so, just think about your instructional routines and your current instructional routines, and you can be okay with that. It'll be fine. Some teachers send videos home, some don't. Some like to control every piece right within the classroom. And that's okay, as long as they fall within the 80/20. And that's really the flip. The flip is really about 80/20, because traditionally we do it just opposite. We spend 20% of our time having students work in class and 80% of the time talking at them. And now we're just simply reversing that. So the flip isn't necessarily about the video. It's really about, reversing your instructional routine so you're more supportive for your students, so you have more control as a teacher, so your students have more ownership in their learning. If we focus on the technology, that's an unstable base, that changes all the time. So you want to make sure that you focus on, when your activities are in class, that it focuses on different types of activities, different types of assessments, and you're transferring the ownership to your students. They're actually presenting problems on the board. They're actually conducting group sessions. They're actually doing all those things that you might normally do, because ultimately we know that you know it, and we want our students to know it. And that's the best. When they know it and they feel good about it, then we feel good about it as a teacher. I hope this helps you. You can always, we can always Skype, or we can always do a Google Hangout. And if you have any further questions, but I think that if you focus on just reversing and just simply changing your instructional routines a little bit, all right, making your stuff digital so you don't have to work so hard, and all the stuff's in a nice container like Riven, offers. You can find other people's videos out there that are available to you, so you don't have to make videos. Or you can use simple screen capture software like Screencast-O-Matic, like I'm using right now to talk to you. But I think that, there's all kinds of things out there. Other services that you might be interested in are Remind, which is texting information to students is a great piece, because that's where most of my students are at. Also, YouTube is a great resource, obviously, because it's such a well-known web video entity. And also Zaption, asking quizzes on top of your questions. If you have a video, Zaption is another, Zaption is a service. And also GradeCam, which allows you to scan grades and dump them into a grade book automatically. So there's all kinds of services out there that you can use to make you more efficient so that you can spend more time with your students. All right, have a great day. Hopefully this video arrives to you in a timely manner, and we'll talk to you soon. If you have any questions, you can certainly do a Google Hangout with me at teachingcoaches@gmail.com. That's teachingcoaches@gmail.com. Have a great day.